Hey, 1, 2, 3.
I'm Christine Escobar, mother of 4, raised in Boyle Heights. This podcast will not just help empower women, but help them find that inner confidence, fierceness, motivation, and path towards success. Whether it's life, relationships, business, or a push forward, together let's get inspired. This is Así o Más Claro with Christine Escobar. Hi guys, this is Christine coming from you from the city of Pasadena. I'm so excited today. Yeah. So today officially marks my podcast that I've been thinking about doing for a long time, but thanks to a really good friend of mine, Mr. JP Pena, who's here with us.
What's up, everybody? How's it going? It's JP.
He actually told me, like, well, what are you waiting for? Let's get your, the equipment. And of course, it's so easy to make all these plans, want to do different things, but sometimes you need that extra push, like, oh, what are you waiting for? It's just buying equipment. So thankful to him. Actually, a year ago in January, he interviewed me for a podcast, and I said, well, what do I need to buy? And think about it. It took me a year. It's a long time, but here we are. So, thank you so much for giving me a push to get this done. And, you need that. And I'm so glad that we're here. So thank you.
I know. It's only like take 50.
Yeah, ya me regañó. And, I'm nervous, right? He's been doing this, and we did a few takes here and there, and he's like, okay, you totally just did like a whole chapter. But, that's the beauty of podcasts, right? I'm a new about it. I did kind of read up a little bit about it, but, sometimes you just kind of have to take a risk and just throw yourself in there. So that's what we're doing today. So,
and the best ones are the ones that are not planned. It's just
right?
Basically go with it. So whatever you want to talk about, Christine, it's your first episode, so let's make it amazing and let's show everybody like what Así o Más Claro is going to be about. So I know there's a lot of stuff, and how about what just happened right now with gentlemen getting upset about your event?
Oh yeah, so most of you guys know I created Gracefully Fierce. It's a women empowerment group, and I wanted to do it because of course I've gotten inspired by some people. But I thought, why not me? I want to be relatable. There's lots of things that I've gone through that can help someone else. So I developed it, especially during the pandemic. I felt, why not, right? It's been a plan of mine. It's a perfect time. So it's actually just for women, but lately a lot of guys have been asking me, like, well, why can't I go? Even my husband, I've thrown him out. I just feel that as women...
But what if it's just some guys and they're just like, you know what, Gracefully Fierce, you're going to get top women with the right mindset. That's the type of wifey I want.
That's true. Maybe I can open a...
if you can, I'd say you charge extra.
Extra for the men.
Yeah. And
y que nos bailen.
And you got to check their credit score.
Before, scan them before coming. I mean, it's not a bad idea. To be honest, I think, men should learn about women and, understand them, right? We don't come with a manual, vice versa. Men don't come with a manual. But hearing, I guess, women speak and maybe sharing different stories will help them, right? Especially if they're young and trying to find that special boss lady. I think it'd be perfect. So
it's funny you bring that up because we had sort of a little, not disagreement, but I think different.
We did
thoughts on with the whole Jenny Rivera thing, right?
Oh yes, we did.
Yeah.
We both watched. Well, I'm at a certain episode, and you're up, ahead of me.
And by the way, I only watched that for educational purposes. So I want to put that out there. But, I think you brought up a good point, though, because I think one thing about a gentleman is also understanding the other person's point of view and sort of trying to find that level ground of not trying to argue, but more of like, okay, I see where you're coming from and having a different perspective on it, which most men would probably be like, no, this is my stand. That's it. This is what we're thinking. And so for everybody knows what it was. It's just that I said, that's crazy because if I was ever in a position like that, I would leave. And we're talking about the guy beating her up.
Yeah.
And you brought a good point that said, you don't know until you're living that, because somebody in that situation could be completely brainwashed to the point where they just have to stay.
Right. And there's so much to that, right? I studied psychology, so, I took different domestic violence classes. I've done like a whole group thing. There's a cycle, it's called the honeymoon phase, right? You're in a relationship, everything's perfect. And if you think of 1 week, 3 days are amazing, and then all of a sudden something happens, as a woman or a man, you end up being caught up in that cycle. So you can't say, well, why didn't you leave, or why didn't you do this, because you're not in it. And psychologically, it's so detrimental to your mental health that it just can really screw you up. So there's different reasons.
My sister had a really good friend, and I remember we used to work together at Ripley's, believe it or not. And I was the manager at the time, and I would always see her boyfriend treat her like so bad, like hit her, and it's just, and I always tell her like, why? Like, she'd be crying during work, and she'd be like, oh, it's because I love him. And I'm like, how is that love? Right. And the lesson that I learned from that was one specific night. It was a Friday. I'll never forget this. And the guy was just going back and forth in front of the store. Like, he would look in, and he had this face that I was just like, this is not going to go right. So I told her, I said, hey, like, what's his problem? And she said, he's upset that I have to work late and I'm not going to go to the party with him. Wow. And I said, oh, you know what? Leave. Like, go ahead, go. I don't want this to get any worse. I said, I'll close out. And so she starts putting her stuff together. And I remember she walks out. He grabs her by the hair, throws her to the floor. I remember seeing her forehead bounce from the floor. And there was a couple of gentlemen outside, and they were like, hey, like, stop. And I don't know, something about me, just my blood just went. I remember jumping the counter. I remember going towards him. I grabbed him. I kicked him so hard that he falls between a car and the sidewalk. And I'm punching the hell out of him.
You're like, you want to know how it feels?
Yeah, so I'm hitting him. And then the next thing I know, I get punched in the face.
By her.
Yep. And I'm like, wait a minute. So now I'm getting beat up by both of them. And she's kicking me too. Yeah. And then now he's hitting me. Now it's the other way around. Now I'm on the floor. And I'm getting beat up by both people. And then the same people that were outside, they came in and they started pushing them off. And I was just like, lesson learned.
Yeah. I just think some women get so caught up, right? And, like how they say, love is blind. Love is really blind. I think some women find jealousy as like, oh my God, he loves me that much. That's why he's so jealous. Or that's why, like, I can't even turn because he's going to think I'm looking at someone else. I think it has a lot to do with, maybe insecurities of a man or the other individual, their anger, right? They're angry for a certain reason, and this woman or whoever they're with is supposed to fix that. And the minute it goes wrong, it's, they have to take it. But again, it has to do, well, we don't know how she grew up. We don't know if, her surroundings or the way that she was brought up, that's considered normal. So
you think that most women, based on what they saw growing up, may mimic a lot of her?
I mean, there's different factors, right? Like, we could really get into it. To me, you're not born, a wife beater or a certain way. They're learned behaviors, right? So here you are growing up as a kid. Here comes dad walking in. He's drunk. He starts, mistreating, maltratando, your mom. You're going to think that's normal. And if it's in part of your family, the culture of your family, it can just happen. And again, there could be 5 people in one household, maybe 1 out of the 5 or 2. Some people, just based on their personality, are more susceptible to be that way or learn certain behaviors and do it themselves, like alcoholism.
Yeah.
Again, it's a disease, yes, but if your father drank and then you drank and there's other people in your household that are drinking, it's just going to happen.
Yeah. No, it's, hold on, guys. We also have, by the way, I have to say that when I do my podcast, it's just me because I'm like not high end yet. Christine has like a technician here on the side, another person taking notes for the podcast.
I have someone bringing me coffee or water.
Breakfast. I'm like, man, like, I think I need to just come work with Christine here.
Yes, así se hace. Yeah. I just wanted to be very comfortable for you guys. So if I have needs right now, they're going to be met just to make sure this goes well, okay?
I like that. No, you know what I was going to say?
Aprende.
I saw my dad being very abusive growing up, right? And that always sort of bugged me. And the thing that sort of screwed me up was that I wanted to be that hopeless, like romantic. I wanted to
You're a Pisces, por eso.
Yeah, I wanted to be the totally opposite of what I saw my parents grow up. I wanted to, like, get married, and I would always dream of this.
The fairy tale.
And by the way, I shouldn't be saying this for all my men out there, I will not be turning in my man card.
Gosh, whatever that means.
But yeah, no, I wanted to have I was like, I'm going to have the nice white car and the white dress. And I could see her white dress like down the stairs. Like that was my thing.
Like a movie.
I started getting heartbroken. It was many heartbroken. My first heartbreak was in the 3rd grade. And I remember Janet.
That's young.
I will never forget her name. Janet, by the way.
Wherever you are, Janet, you broke his heart.
Go check my Instagram now and see who I got.
Maldita la que le quebró el corazón.
But I remember I went up to her. I did like the little letter with the heart, and I had got a chocolate, and I had a flower, and I remember I saw her, and I told my friend, Fernando, hey, go with me. We're going to go see this girl. And we start going up there, and I clearly remember this like night and day. There was a fruit tree on top of the elementary school.
Wow.
We walk in, and there's a stair that goes up, and she was coming in. It's like the minute she walked, there's like this glow, and I remember it's like,
She memorized you, mesmerized you.
And I was so nervous. And I walk up to her, and I said, here. And I remember I just went here, and I just like put it out there. And she grabs it, she opens the letter, and then she goes, I'm sorry, but I like Fernando.
And this was your friend that you told?
He's next to me.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, wait, what? And then she goes, yeah. And she gives him the flower and grabs his hand, and then they walk together.
Hija de su madre. Let's go find her.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Did this just really happen? And I remember that after we got off the bus, because he used to ride the bus with me, I told him, I said, hey, man, so like, how's your girlfriend?
Was there not like bro code back then?
That's what I said. I was like, bro.
On.
And then when I asked him that, I'm like, bro, so how's your girlfriend? He goes, oh man, she like kissed me before we got in the bus. And I was just like,
what?
You have to be kidding me. Like, are you freaking serious, right? So for me, I was like, okay, so I went on this whole like sad, heartbroken thing. And in high school, that's really where it got me, because every girlfriend I did in high school cheated on me. And this is where it used to upset me, because I used to always think, maybe being the nice guy is not a good thing. Maybe I have to be that bad guy.
I think you can't be too nice, and I don't mean that in like, okay, guys, don't be nice to the girl. Of course, be respectful. But I truly feel, and I don't know if this has anything to do with me being Latina, I think a man needs to take charge, right? I think a woman has her opinions, has her voice. Of course, your voice has to be heard. But for me, as the woman I need my man to take charge in many different ways. But that's for me. Again, maybe you were the guy because you were the hopeless romantic.
And you know what it was? It was my lack of confidence.
Yeah, that's huge.
It was my lack of confidence. And I didn't realize that till
maybe it was this Janet that screwed up your confidence. I mean, think about it.
It could have been like I felt like I got
she
destroyed,
shot you down.
But it wasn't only that. It was just growing up too in my family. My dad was very. He would be the one that he would try to use that reverse psychology. Like that wasn't good enough, and sometimes I just wanted to hear that it was good enough.
Right.
Sometimes I wanted the tap in the back, that like good job, and for him it was just like, no, you got to do better.
But see, because the way that you grew up made you be that guy, where maybe you completely went above and beyond for these girls, and they took advantage, right?
And that's how it was in everything, even in sports. Yeah. I would kill it on tryouts, but then when it actually came to performing, I would lose that confidence, and then I would doubt myself. Yeah. And then it'd be my dad. No, she said, like he would never go to my karate matches. It'd be my mom all the time. And it'd be like my mom always, God bless her, she was like, "Sí, mijo, si puedes." And then I'll go excited to my dad.
Thank God for moms, right? What would we do without our moms? But this is a great message, and I'm glad we're talking about it. A lot of people don't talk about that too often. The way that you grow up, the way that you 100%. Were raised, the way that you were spoken to, can affect you as an adult, right? And parents, your job, our job is so crucial. It is like imperative to the human kind, right? It's, if you think about what's happening to you as an adult, the way that you react, relationships, especially in relationships, has a lot to do with that. It's like right there.
I think that they said the studies show that kids between 0 to 7 are going to be like, that's the most crucial part in parenting, because that's really when any little, issue, bad thing that they see or anything gets scarred. So vice versa, if it's something good that you're showing them, then they're actually going to have a higher percentage of succeeding in life because of that. And that doesn't mean you can't change. I mean, look at me now, completely changed, confident as fuck. I walk in rooms.
So you got to the point where you became the heartbreaker?
I became the heartbreaker. No, that's a true story. I did. I remember that after, while I was in the military, it just became this sort of like rush of, fuck that, you're this badass, you're this. And I'm not proud of all the things I did, but it's crazy how just that shift of mindset created a big change in my life and my dating and my, with girls and all that. So I'm not saying be that asshole, but what I am saying is if you're a gentleman, be confident and walk it and still be that lovable person. You can still be that, romantic person. Now, it just gives you that extra leverage that most guys won't have. Because even though, let's say the girl likes the badass, the rocker, the guy that's always in trouble.
The bad boy.
The bad boy.
Yeah, it's the
There's
bad
always
boy.
something lacking that there's never going to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the truth. And, I know many friends of mine, they were the bad boys that, always in and out of jail. And all these girls will go crazy like, oh, my God, Casper is in jail again. He's so cute. Like,
I think it's probably maybe the rush, right? That, like, excitement. But I think, and I hope I speak for many women, you end up getting over that phase, right? And you need to look opposite of what you're used to because, unless the bad boy changed, unless he grew up, unless he's like now serious, if you want a different life, you're going to have to go towards the other guy, the nice guy, the guy that, you're his priority, not an option. To me, that's huge.
And it goes the same way with guys. Like, I obviously coach agents and sometimes we get business people, and I always ask, like the single ones, like what would be your ideal girl? And they'll sit there, and of course they'll describe the Instagram model, the nice butt, the breast, the
Sports Illustrated.
That. And I'm just like, great. Now, where do you think you fall on that? On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at?
It's true.
Because a person like that, first of all, is going to demand so much that you're not even there, first of all. And then they'll stay quiet. But let's talk about a wife material now. Like, what would a wife material be like? And don't describe physical. Let's start on a deeper level, emotionally.
Well, that changes. I truly feel, social media, right, where we're at right now, has changed the notion of marriage and, as a partner, right? If she doesn't look like this, then...
Yeah, it's
but
not.
Then what comes with that image,
Exactly.
right?
100%.
Like, to me, the new sexy, like, my brain is sexy. I don't got to show my nalgas or anything to be, but that's me. I think...
And by the way, that's not like, frown uponing other women that,
no, of course
do that.
not.
That, I believe that they're sexy and in their own way. I do feel that the majority of them are not quite mental straight as they should be because it's all private agenda. And again, I do leases for the majority of them, and I'm sitting there like, you can't even fill out an application. Like, that's a problem.
Well, media has kind of said, like, you've got to be pretty and hot and you'll make it in life, when realistically that's not true.
Yeah. And I believe it's more beautiful, too, when you actually do find somebody and you grow together and you have common goals and,
when they feed your brain. That's what I tell Willie. Feed my brain.
It becomes a journey, and it's an amazing one. And listen, whether you're with a significant other or you're married, it's a challenge. Like you said earlier, nobody gets a book on parenting or how to be the right husband. You go through trial and errors, and I'm still going them. And I think I've been married 12 years, John.
Well, ya ni sabe.
But what I'm saying is it's a journey that you just have to always find better ways to improve. And I don't think it's just one way. I think it's both ways. But I think for the majority of men, we forget about that. And it's always like, what's the women's job to make the relationship better?
Right, fix it.
Or she's not doing this part. And then when you ask him, well, what are you doing to contribute? Well, why should I put anything if I'm working or if I'm doing this? And slowly we're transitioning now to the independent era.
Right. Because gender roles are changing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They've been changing.
I mean, statistics just show that, believe it or not, there's more women making more money.
That's right. Yeah. Where are my girls at?
And I mean, I wouldn't mind that, to be quite honest.
Be taken care of.
Yeah.
But, whether it's changing, of course, there's a lot of women CEOs, not just CEOs, but entrepreneurs. I love that in fact it can be women and men. There should be no cap, right? But at the same time, just based on life, I don't know, a man to me wouldn't want to stay home, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you do have a few lazy bums out there.
Yeah, of course. But I wouldn't want my husband to stay home.
How would you feel if you got home and your husband's playing video games on his 30s?
My mindset has changed a lot about that. I get that, right? You want to play. It's no big deal. It's something he likes, but he'd have to be doing something else. And, there's got to be some commonality, or whether he's just making money while he's playing. He may be like this great video guy or inventor. Then that's different. Like, okay, do with what you need to do. But I would have to come to terms where, okay, because to me, marriage is compromise. Like, I had a coaching call yesterday, and that was our definition of marriage. It's something, if you think about it, marriage can be hundreds of things, but the one thing that stands out to me, I've been married for 9 years now, but it's compromise. It's not losing your individuality, right? Because you say, I do, for better, for worse, richer or poorer. Doesn't mean, okay, I'm done. Christine we're going to put her away in a closet because she's married now. No, I still need to be an individual. My husband still needs to be an individual, but you become a unit. Yeah, and I think some people don't know how to continue that independence.
Yeah, that's a good point. At what point do you feel it's okay to call it quits?
For me, like my standards, I don't think let's call it quits if it has to do with finances. It's different if someone's verbally abusing you, physically abusing you. That to me is top of the line. Of course, infidelity, because, to me there's a very fine line. And those are my top two.
Is there such thing as forgiveness for infidelity?
Can
a guy slip?
Can he? Of course he can, but should he? To me, if you're, I don't want to say the word smart enough, but awareness, right? You're in a room, someone's there, whether he or she says something, you're aware, right? You're married. You should not respond to whatever that person said. A setting, obviously, if it's an unfamiliar setting, or it's like, wait, it's a little too sexy here. It's being aware, right? And like I said, I don't want to say, oh, you should be smart enough, but come on, it's stupid that someone would make an excuse for that. And alcohol, right? Alcohol is always one that comes into play. No. I mean, come on. You let judgment in certain things, like you're a little crazier, but then again, there's a different drunk. There's one that cries. There's one that's happier, one that's sad, one that's a fighter, you name it. If someone's going to come up to you, y te hace la pase, if you want to call it, come on. You're going to say, oh, I didn't know I was drunk. Come on. That's all I'm going to say. Come on.
I was reading an article, and it talked about how the majority of infidelities come due to alcohol. Mm-hmm. And it's the source for the blame. And I think back, for example, like looking at the Jenny Rivera series, right, where the dad gets caught cheating. And
well, I'm not there yet, but thanks.
But in their eyes, it's okay. Like, not okay, but it's something that it shouldn't be asked, shouldn't be, you're nobody to judge. And it's crazy because...
Es que se me aventó.
Yeah, well...
y ahí estaba.
But in the Hispanic machista, old school, it's sort of like...
Yo soy el hombre y a huevo.
Yeah. Like,
pasó lo que pasó.
And don't ask about it. I'm still providing. I'm still bringing food. The kids are taken care of. So just get over it.
Well, that's why I'm a huge believer, and call me a feminist. I don't care. This is why women always, regardless of your race, culture, where you come from, should always be very independent, because a lot of women do not leave these situations, whether it's adultery. Yeah. We needed that one. they don't leave for that financial reason, right? The husband is the financier of their home, their family. That's ugly to think I can't leave. I'm miserable. He treats me like shit, but he's the provider. Bullshit. So if you are a woman and you are listening to this changes now, fuck that. And I'll say it again, fuck that. You'll figure it out.
And as a man, I will tell you that that's not allowable either. Like, I'm a big believer that you should be independent. And if you ever have a guy that, you know, holds you down and uses that, or your kids, that's the worst. Like when they use kids and, oh, well, I'll take the kids away. I'll do this and that. And so many women get frightened by that and the fear that, well, I don't have a job. I didn't do nothing. I don't have money coming in. Now he's threatening to take the money away, and he's threatening to take the kids away and my home. I'll just stick it out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, we live in a society. Everything's changing. Of course, you have a parental right. It's given. The day your child is born, you know, the father has rights. The mother has rights. And I remember when I went through like custody and things like that, I worked at a law firm. So I had one out, right?
So yeah, you were.
I knew what I was doing. You know, I studied it. I filed my own paperwork at the courthouse, luckily. But at the end of the day, if they don't find the other parent to be negligent or unable, like they lose their parental role or rights, they have that given biological right. So it's like, okay, I get it, things are going to change, but at the end of the day, los hijos son de los dos.
Yeah.
And it is what it is.
I didn't know you went through a custody battle.
Oh yeah, with my older kiddos, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Not custody, like back and forth, I'm going to take them and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I filed paperwork because when we did separate, it just got a little hectic and funky. Like the day we had court, he didn't give me the kids back. And it's like, oh, shit. But, of course, I had been their mother and just what was happening. I got full custody and he had the every other weekend. So, I mean, it was joint, but I had the bigger percentage.
Do you feel that it was ever like he really just wanted to help and sort of work with you on that system, or did he ever like?
No, he was always hiding, you know, from it. And of course, when you're Latina, there's something called homegirl investigations. Give me some clapping for that one. You just figure it out. And again, maybe it was working for a law firm. I did take, I used to be intrigued by criminal justice. I figured it out myself, like, wait a minute, I know he's working. And I just started doing my homegirl investigation series. And I ended up sending a garnishment of wages. I filed one to his job.
Oh, wow.
And they can't deny it because, you get served, right? So... And it wasn't that, okay, now I'm doing this to get back at you. It was not like that. It was like, if there are children and we're going to share them, you've got to contribute. Yeah. So, there is laws, of course, for both parents, but at the same time, it's what's best for the kids, right? Like, I would never want to share my kids 50-50, but at the end of the day, a man has to have his children. Also, again, if they're safe, if they're stable, just there's so many factors. It's like a whole freaking series if we wanted to get into it about filing, divorce, and sharing kids.
What about the wife supporting the husband? Divorce, the husband now comes and asks.
Oh, yeah, it happens a lot because, so one thing that I don't agree with the system, if it's changed, I'd love to know, just, to be up in the know. So what the court does, depending on how much you make, the individual that makes the most income, it's got to average on the time. So say I had them 90% of the time, 80, and he had them the 20. If I made more money, then I'd have to freaking, it's like, oh, hell no. So like, estoy trabajando para mantenerlo on the side también, tampoco. I truly feel that if there's an attorney out there or some type of bill we can sign, it's not okay, because what if I was like the CEO or president of a company? Now you want to come up because I make more money? Work.
Okay, so let's look at this scenario. You're the CEO of your company.
Right.
You're killing it. Mm-hmm. But I'm staying home. I'm cooking. I'm taking care of the kids.
Oh, but I thought you meant like separated.
Yeah, no,
like,
now we're separated.
Now we're separated. No, chingate. I'll figure it out.
But wait, I mean, I contributed to your success. I took care of the kids. I support you. When you got home, I rubbed your feet.
Okay, listen. Okay, so now you did a little plot twist there. So if we were married, like a scenario, I'm a CEO, we had children, now we're divorced, then law is a law, right? And if we were married 10 years and you were part of my success in those 2 years, I get it. It is what it is. At one point, it's going to hurt like, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
But it's a law.
It wouldn't be, I mean, okay.
And look, the kids are involved, right?
I'll tell you my actual opinion on that. Because I feel that any man should just still be able to go out there and grind regardless.
I agree. 100%. I agree. But
you have the few that would say, well, it's a double standard. Like, how is it that if it was the other way around, I would still have to pay. I would still have to, support her.
But right now, it doesn't change. Gender-wise, whether you're female.
Exactly. It
right.
doesn't. But you have a lot of women who would actually sit there and say, no, screw it. You don't deserve it, period. Like, go out there and get a job. Which part of me would say, yes, you're right. Mm-hmm. But if we look at the system and the, let's say, legal way, then no, it would be the same thing if it was a man, same thing if it was a woman. My question becomes your actual honest point of view on that. Should a man just depend on that now? Or should he just say, you know what, it is what it is, congratulations, I'll still take care of the kids and I'll just go get a job now?
I think it depends, right? Every situation is different. I know some situations where there's a mom, they're not together anymore. He doesn't want to work, so that's why they're divorced. But now she has to fully take care of the kids. It's not fair, but it says a lot about who she is and who he is, right? It validated the fact that they had a divorce or went through a divorce.
And it's the other funny thing is that it actually it's proven too that women will even take on 2 jobs.
I've had 3 jobs.
To be able to, there's a high percentage of men in that situation. Not saying all men, but in the situation where child support or, there was...
Yeah, they'll run away or get paid cash so they don't have to support.
They'll still duck the system. They'll lie about what they're doing. And see, that's where I think that's just stupid.
Yeah. I think, and some people will feel different about this, but again, it's my opinion. I feel that a mother, I don't know... who knows why, but I'll tell you my 2 cents in that. I feel that women, because you're carrying this child, this is your child that came out of you, you're willing to walk the ends of this earth. Like, to me, my children were like my blood. They were my lifeline. How could I say I can't? I don't have it. Yeah. I figured it out. And again, who knows? It might be that I was that much stronger, right? So because I'm like that, my expectation of a man is if I can freaking work 2-3 jobs, what are you doing? But maybe because I was like that.
Yeah.
Right? But not everybody has that, I guess, inner strength, I would call it.
No, it's just, conveniencia.
Conveniencia? No, chingona.
No, for the men.
Yeah, I guess.
I have to, I don't have to. It's move on. It's a less... I've known people that have said it's a less burden for me now because I don't have to have them every day, referring to the kids.
Wow.
And I heard that and I've been like, whoa, I don't know how.
To me, someone like that, I'd lose total respect because, I truly do feel that sometimes the mother does have the most percentage of time with her children or taking care of them, right? It's just kind of what happens. But to me, when someone says that, they weren't ready to be a father. Yeah. They weren't. Or it's just something's a little off.
No, it makes sense. I always said it. I said, not saying it would. If I ever did, I think if I, everything I have for here, take it. Like, to my ex-wife, my kids, I would rather start all over again, but ensure they're taken care of instead of me, trying to fight the opposite. And I won't lie. I mean, I think that, as busy as I am, of course, a mom would always do a better job than I would, but crazy. Sure.
Well, not that a mom would. I think we're very just nurturing. We bring that nurturing or that emotional attachment to children and what we do. But I truly feel that, in order to be, I don't want to say successful, a full rounded individual, you need both parents.
Yeah.
It's
important.
Hugely.
There's certain traits that a dad teaches a son or a daughter that a mom will never do.
Exactly.
I mean, a father is always going to teach confidence to a son in a way that a mom would never be able to do. I mean, and I'm not saying a mom can't do it.
No, I agree.
You know, that's going to teach respect towards women a lot different.
Yeah, or the security, right?
Yeah,
a woman needs that security,
exactly.
Like my hero.
A dad's always going to teach him to, if you fall, get up. Where a mom's going to be more, oh, ven para acá.
Estás bien, te dolió.
Deja sobarte. I'm going to put vaporú on you, you know, and all that stuff.
Sana colita.
Yeah, where a dad's just going to teach him that relentless of like failing, it's okay, get up and move on. So I see the importance. And I try to understand that growing up because I would always think maybe that's why my parents stick that out so long. But then when you look at their situation, I'm like, no, it wasn't. It was worse. It was more fighting, more cheating, my dad beating on my mom more. And maybe it was just my mom's not willingness or strength to let go. And my dad's just now comfort of this is all I know.
I think it's cultural and generational. I think that because it's changed, right? Like our parents, right? Or their parents. No matter what, they just didn't separate.
Yeah.
Regardless of chingadazos, you know, nights drinking or being, you know, taking off for the weekend and, you know, just infidelity. It's just, it is what it is, right? But I think it's changed in the form where it's like, I feel that it's easier to walk away now, which it shouldn't. I'm against it. But at the same time, what's the situation, right? And people are breaking cycles. But at the same time, what's going to happen in marriage? Right? If it's so easy to walk away from it, then what's going to happen?
I like that.
That's a good one. Okay, let's get the clapping. Come on, where's my assistant?
By the way, they got me doing the mixer here. I got everything. I'm going to submit my invoice right after.
That's fine. And we have positions open. Whoever would like to apply.
What's your show, Christine? What else do you want to talk about?
You know, I feel that
we should throw random questions out there.
We should, right? Or have people call in. That would be amazing for sure for the next one. I think today
and you do have the access to do that.
I know, I love it. I think for the first day, it's just, okay, let's figure it out. Me getting comfortable. You make me feel very comfortable. At first, you were freaking me out and I got nervous. But it's just, again, it's a two-way conversation.
Look, it
just happened.
Great, and that was over 30 minutes of just...
Yeah, and I like that there's no agenda today. You know, of course, I'm going to have, I don't want to call them themes, but I'm going to have a specific agenda or certain guests that I do have specific questions or topics. That'll be a little different, but I do want to make it... My podcast is not only for women. I will have some special men come on board because I feel the messages that I have or what I want to, empower women and men with is for both. Like, why not work together instead of separate?
I like that.
Okay, come on, the clapping. You missed out.
Like
those. Are my assistants falling asleep? I mean, don't you, when it comes to empowerment, there is no just one, it's not black or white. I don't think so.
Oh, no, it's not. It's, empowerment could be in different ways. And I feel that sometimes just the communication aspect of it doesn't have to be, in you having to do something, like push somebody a certain way. Sometimes just hearing something could, change somebody's life tremendously. And I think we see that.
Yeah.
I think EMA is an example of that.
Yeah.
Willis EMA,
we just had this one this past weekend.
Yeah, you could have
empowering
somebody go the whole week and say, it was this one thing that I heard that just completely changed
their life. Yeah. I think this is what it's about, right? Like a lot of people say, or, when I did my podcast with you, the interview, I had a few people say, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. And, before, if you think about it, you kind of talk to your friends a little bit or you say certain things. But to really, really open up and open that space, it's kind of hard sometimes, right? And sometimes we actually feel a little more comfortable telling a stranger than someone that knows us because we're afraid to be judged. I feel we're in a time where your story could impact me so huge. And and if you're relatable, it might help me change my life, the future of my children and generations to come. Why not share your story?
Yeah. It's funny because for the longest, I never talked about many stuff that I went through because of that.
Because of judgment?
I felt that it would make me seem less important. I felt that I'm now in a better position, and so why talk about it?
Right.
And I always been not hate, but I always been against people always living that violent, just kind of like, oh my God, this happened to me, and therefore just run with that always.
Right.
I'm like,
it just takes over.
Yeah, like at one point, like, I call it the violent effect. And I do this with my vets a lot. Like, I'll sit there and I'll be like, so what's your problem? Oh, well, this, and my friend died, and my this, and my friend died, and my this. And I'm like, dude, if you just keep on putting that in your head and that's all you're living,
right,
dude, you're not ever gonna like achieve anything. You're not moving forward. You're still stuck in that moment. Like, rewrite your story, like rewrite that chapter, rewrite your book, do whatever it takes.
Right.
But you gotta get out of that mindset.
Well, people need to use it as their fuel instead of like a victim mentality, if you will, or just
that was the right word.
What brings them down. Right? We weren't taught use that, run with it. That's what's going to fuel you to do better, right? That's why like EMA and Gracefully Fierce, we don't get anything out of it. What I love, and I know that we did a good job, is the messages. People saying, oh my God, now I did this. Now I implemented it. That's the beauty of it, or the beauty of a podcast, right? I listened to this podcast, and because of that, oh my God, like, no soy la primera ni la última. If it happened to me, oh my God, I'm okay. It's happened to her, and look at where she's at now, or he was able to now be successful. And then again, what is success? Yeah. To me, success is being happy. Things happen in life, tragedies are going to happen, but the difference is that tragedy going to make you, or is it just a time frame that you're experiencing and then you move on?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think that, it's crazy because when I started talking, well, actually the first way that I started sort of sharing my story, I was actually set up by Fox Sports.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so,
ay, míralo, muy chingón.
Yeah, so I was being interviewed for Bellator, and this was with Jay Glazer, and he knew my story, but he didn't tell me he told the producers about it.
Wow.
So he told me, hey, they're just going to talk to you, talk about the organization and the vets we help, so on and so forth. And I said, great. And I'm sitting there, and I'm talking, and then out of nowhere they go, well, tell us about the time you tried to kill yourself.
Wow.
And I was just like,
what?
I remember so much anger came towards me because I wanted to, part of me wanted to run, part of me wanted to start swinging
They
at
put you on the
people.
spot.
Yeah, and we're on live TV. So I'm like, these motherfuckers. And Jay Glazer, who's an announcer for Fox Sports, he's looking at me. He's like, you got this. And I'm just like, dude, I'm going to whoop your ass when I'm like finished with this.
But I also think, they do backgrounds, right? Like, who's this person we're bringing on?
No, in this case, it was basically Jay Glazer nominated me to speak.
Oh, okay, so you were nominated.
And so I got 24-hour notice about this interview.
Yikes.
Yeah, and we were in Hawaii. This is for the Bellator fights. I remember we were in Hawaii, and they sit me down, and they just start asking questions. Like, oh, where did you serve? How many vets have you guys helped? And I know you're ambassador for MVP. And everything was going great.
It was like a Katie, what's her name, Katie Couric? Where she just sits you down and like...
Oh, yeah. So it's pretty cool, like, at first. And for me, I don't have no problem talking, especially with something that I'm part of or I love, right?
Right.
But when they hit me with this curveball, it was so crazy, and it was just so many feelings. And
you were off guard. They caught you off guard.
Lene and my kids didn't know about it.
Oh,
and they're watching this. Yeah. So for me, that's why I was like, great. Not only that, I had told my family to watch it. So I had friends, family, like everybody was watching this. And so, yeah, it was one of the most craziest feelings. And I just started talking. And then I remember when I was done, I looked at the guy, the producer, and they're all on tears, by the way. They're like all on tears. And he looks at me, he goes, I'm sorry, and I go fuck off. I told him, go fuck off. And I went up to Jay, and I said, if you ever fucking do that to me again, dude. I said, I'll fucking shoot you. I swear I told Jay that.
Wow.
And Jay fucking grasped me, and he hugged me so fucking hard, and I just lost it. I started crying. I lost it, and he goes, you are what you are for what's between your chest, not because of all this.
Yeah.
Like, we're okay being fucked up. and you just share something so powerful that you might have just saved somebody's life.
Yeah. Did you feel that made you any less because you did contemplate it?
No, I think my biggest emotion was regret and shame. I felt that, during my time frame when that happened, I felt like such a loser. I felt that how can I, at the position that I am now, the mindset that I have now, how did I ever allow it to get to that point? Mm-hmm. And of course, I know the answer. I didn't have the help. I wasn't in the right environment.
The guidance.
I was drinking like crazy. I didn't have friends. And what a lot of people don't know about me is I always naturally been a solitary person. Mm-hmm. And you would think not. People think, JP, you're so social. But no, like, I do keep to myself a lot.
Do you feel, and it's weird. I've been thinking about this lately. I don't know why. Do you feel that you were destined to have gone through that, or that you made your own destiny?
I feel that I made my own destiny.
Okay. But do you also feel that because you went through those things, who knows, you might meet someone that you're going to empower, help them change their life. I mean, that's the part that I truly feel, that sometimes you come across certain people and that was fate, right? I think, you could literally bury someone, and if they survive that, it's will. It's not that you were destined for this to happen to you.
So the way I look at it is like I had options thrown in front of me between when that happened and let's just say 6 years prior.
Okay.
I'm a big believer that anything that you go through, in some way, shape, or form, you had an option at one point in your life.
Of course.
And I feel that the options I had were good and bad, and I took all the bad ones. Mm-hmm. And that led me to a road where eventually it got me to that. That led me to, hate, depression, drinking, wanting women, wanting, sex, wanting like all this other stuff. It was just like, that's the road that I took. And it was because growing up, I always had this void of, I never had none of that. My parents were very strict. I couldn't go out. I used to sneak out. I just wanted to play music, dance, and be a DJ. Mm-hmm. And so when I finally started making money doing loans, and I was still in the military, for me was like, splurging on everything I ever wanted growing up. I remember when I got my DJ system and I was doing DJ at clubs, and that came with girls, and I always wanted to be that star that I walked into the club and all the girls be like, yeah, that DJ. I wanted to be a fucking celebrity.
But so many men or women want that. What do you think, knowing where you're at now, your mindset change, just your surroundings, what do you think is the secret formula, or if there is a formula to not get onto that path?
I think my faith.
Damn, that was a good question.
I think it's my faith. I think that, being in whatever you believe in, it could be aliens, it could be unicorns.
Is there aliens? I've never seen a unicorn. I'm just kidding.
But you know what? Being grounded and having some sort of faith and guidance does help a lot. And,
Pero eso se acaba. Wanting that life, that path, se acaba.
It does. It's pleasure. Think about it. Pleasure is
te echas a perder o se acaba.
It's just pleasure. But you don't know how to separate the two when you're, growing up, or if you never experienced that. And, now you get a taste of it. It fucking feels good. It's like sex. It could be the best 45 minutes of your life, or it could be the best 5 minutes of your life, right? It depends how, whatever it is, it's temporary. Mm-hmm. It's temporary. Mm-hmm. And most people don't realize that. They think it's a forever thing. This is why you have, I was just reading a book, and I can't remember the name right now, but it talks about, and it's actually a psychology book, and it talks about why certain kids that are raised with money and they get all this thrown, they always chase that high, and their chances of getting into drugs are a lot more higher because they need to replace it. They need something else.
Something else.
Yeah, that extra high. I need that pleasure. They want to keep living their life, feeling that that
instant gratification.
Yeah,
right?
And it's like, how can I get this more and more and more? And a lot of them sure become successful, but they can never have a happy marriage. They can never have happy kids.
But why? Why can't you have both?
Because they're always seeking that next sort of like, man,
rush.
That rush. I need that next rush. I need that next rush. So one woman would never be enough. One kid might not be enough. One drug might not be enough.
But do you think that's everyone, right? Because
no, it's not. It's just, this is why I say that you have to at one point get grounded and really have a deep talk with yourself and find out, what's my true meaning? What's my true purpose?
Mm-hmm. Purpose is huge.
And I had no idea what it was. I thought purpose for me was like, fuck yeah, DJing at big clubs Vegas and getting all these chicks.
Famous.
That's
Insta
what it was.
famous.
And I was just like, as I grew older, and I think that after I went through that situation, and then I see my son, and I see my wife, and I had a vision board, and I remember this vision board. In fact, he has it on his wall now. And on that vision board, I had 2 couples with 2 kids, a girl and a boy. I had a BMW in there. I had a nice house. I said that I was going to be working in the Hollywood Hills. I had in there that I was going to make 6 figures. And I'm looking at it, I'm all like, I have achieved the majority of all this stuff, and I didn't even notice it.
Wow.
And all this time, I've been chasing all the wrong things. And my environment has been all fucked up. And I don't realize that what I truly wanted in life has been in front of me all this time, and I've been neglecting.
Sometimes we don't see it.
And that's what it was. That's really what got me to think differently, change, and be like, I really got to unfuck myself.
And that's when you started your podcast.
No, this is way before. This is like 2010.
Okay.
2010. And that's when my journey became, and it wasn't easy. It definitely was not easy.
Well, do you think a person themselves without any guidance can unfuck themselves, like how you say?
I believe anybody could change. And it's a question.
But there has to be some guidance, right? Someone you have to look up to someone, whether it's faith, a mentorship, coaching,
guidance. I mean, you need it's so much that you got to do, and the more that you let this like eat you up and you ride on this ride, the much harder it gets for you to change. And I was the one person that believed you can't change. I was that one person that
But now you've changed that.
Oh, 100%. Back then, my mentality was like, this is what they dealt me. This is the cards I got.
So you really...
for the longest, I believed I would never be wealthy. I believed I would never be successful.
Like you self-sabotage that.
Yeah. I was just, my self-talk was so bad. And I would compare myself to other people's success and be like, I did not achieve that at that age, so therefore I'm a loser.
But now you can say differently, right? You can achieve success at any age. But
at any age.
Again, what does success mean to you? I think success is different for everyone, right? You talked about kids and giving them everything, right? I'm a true believer, like growing up, I know my dad wanted to be an entrepreneur, if you will, the wrong way. And right now it is so, I see that it's popular. And I mean that because everyone, like, I hardly hear people saying they want to go to college. And I believe in college because I went to college. It's something that, I wanted my kids to go to college. So I thought I've got to break this cycle. And, their kids are going to go to college. And it's not for everyone. It took me a long time to accept that. But at the same time, where is that fine line, right? Like you want to create freedom or entrepreneurship and, whether your children end up going to school or not, where is that fine line of giving them everything? Because if you want to change the cycle of poverty or what is it? Oh my gosh, just that generational wealth that we're talking about. When is it enough, or where do you put the line? Like it should be this way or this way.
That's a great question, and I'm still trying to figure
Come on,
it
the
out.
clapping.
There you go.
Because, we're all working to change that, right?
Correct.
And
Are you referring to how do we basically teach our
balance,
kids?
Because we want to create generational wealth, right, to break those cycles. Like, if my family didn't come from anything, then I'm working towards this financial freedom. Then my children, I'm going to leave this legacy. So the children of my children are going to have, that wealth, right? They're not going to be, I hate the SES, the socioeconomic status, because it changes people. It's like if I tell you, oh, honey, we're lower class. Like, no, there is no class. it's either there's, of course there's new money, there's old money, and, there's young people that are being successful, but where do you create that balance? Because I want my kids to be successful. I want them to have, a great life, but where do you put the median?
It's crazy because it's a question that I always ask myself, like, am I doing the right thing? Am I teaching them the right thing?
Right.
Am I going to steer them away from entrepreneurship? Am I going to steer them away from
going to school?
What's right? What's wrong? And, that's the $1 million, question there that we don't have the right answer. We can only go based on
there's no golden ticket.
What we're trying to achieve and how do we perceive to do it. So, one thing that I feel that I was doing wrong in the beginning was sort of like giving them everything, and obviously being no earning for it. And like this guy right now making noise while we're recording, see? So, and it's something that I had to stop real quick, because I was just like, you know what? I also don't want them growing up thinking that they're entitled and everything.
But I don't think, right? You have the means to. It doesn't mean you're going to grow up entitled. I just think whether it's personality too, right? If it's like, I want this, and I want that, and I want it now. That there's a difference. But if I'm able,
do you say no, or do you just give them because they want it?
No, of course. There's a question like an iPad. If they want an iPad, like, okay, well, what do you want it for? You already have a PC or tablet, whatever. Like, what's it for? I don't just go, okay, let's go get it. I question, why is it a necessity? Because you also, I don't want my kids to grow up in, I hate the word spoiled, because what is spoiled? It's either you're a brat and you get what you want. To me, that's how I see spoiled. Or, I'm able to do that now. Like, my older kids will say, gosh, they're lucky, or, we didn't get that. But it's completely night and day. I was a single mom, 2 kids, 2 jobs, versus now I have a husband. We're running a business. It's different. Yeah. Times have changed. So if I'm able to do a birthday party with the reptiles, then why not? But I couldn't. And it doesn't mean that the birthday is less special, or this is like, wow, he's going to remember it, versus them not remembering.
So the real question there becomes, what are you doing different from where you raised your first kids to how you're raising now? And how is that going to impact their life 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when they have a different approach in life and it's work now? Or I think that's where I'm getting at. That's really where it comes down.
I feel there should be a balance. Like, my older kids know what it's like to struggle. They saw me struggle. They know what it's like for me to say, I can't, we don't have it. Or my son, he's 28 now. He told me he didn't realize we were poor until in high school he went to his friend's house, and they lived in San Marino. And San Marino is like a very, wealthy area. He's like, he had this mansion. He's like, and we lived in a 1-bedroom apartment, and we shared a room. And I said, he's like, now I see, I loved that, it's made me who I am. He's like, but at that point, it really screwed me up. Like, finding the difference, I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that. Yeah. I said, well, I'm glad that you now understand that it doesn't make you better or less than. But what I'm doing different with my children now is, for example, they get money for birthdays and things like that. Like, my daughter wanted to go to the mall. She's like, oh, I'm going to need money. I said, well, you have money in your wallet. Use your money. That's what it's for. Or they want something on Amazon. Okay, use your money. Or they're doing a Roblox and they need Robux. I'm like, hey, you want $5? Give me $5. And I don't do it because I don't have it. Yes, I want to teach them, right? Because we can give them everything they want, but why should we? And I don't see, it's really hard, because we're working to give our children what we didn't have, or we couldn't provide, right?
But that's where we mess up, because sometimes I would catch myself doing that. Like, man, I wanted that. Let me go buy it for
Well, my kids are 12 and 7. I'm not buying her Gucci shoes. Okay, that's where I draw the line. And that's me. You can ridicule me if you want. My child is not going to have a Gucci backpack, and I'm an adult and I don't have one. And not because I
that
don't.
means you need to buy 2 Gucci bags?
Right, I need to buy 2. No. I feel there's going to be a time where she understands what that means or to value something like that, right?
I think I'm with you on that. Yeah, I mean, Camila wants Gucci shoes, and I'm like, see, the daddy part of me that, yes, let's give it to her, wants to do it, but then the other part of me is like, no.
They
like,
scratch him up. No,
she doesn't value it yet. She don't understand. Like,
no.
Like, okay, we got her a phone yesterday, Camila.
Okay.
Right? And it was more along the line.
She's 8.
Yeah, she's 8 years old. But this is how it sort of turned out. Lene wanted, she had a T-Mobile, and she said, like, find out what it's like to get you an AT&T. So I said, okay. So I have John on my plan. I go and I said, if I add one more line, how much is it? She's like, oh, it'd be like $260. But we have a plan that if you add another line, make it 4 lines, it'll be $230. And you get a free phone. And I said, well,
it's a win-win.
That's not bad. So I did, and I got home, and I told her, look, this is the conditions, though. You are to only use it on the weekends. You are to only use it when you're off of school. And every night we get it back, and every morning we give it to you. And you know what she said? She said, that's fine, Dad. That's fine.
But you have the person that thinks an 8-year-old shouldn't have a phone.
I think
right?
80% of me thinks that, too. And it was more of a, this happened, so it's not like she's going to have it every day.
We're in a very techie world, right? I get it. Or, mom's like, I'm going to be late to pick you up. I get it. But what did moms do before?
Yeah, you had to wait out, man. I mean, I waited on the rain.
Right? Like, I'm like traditions, right? Like, are they dying? Everything's changing. Are we becoming a techie world where it's like, we're not even going to talk? Yeah, we've been, right?
Yeah, we are. I mean, look now what they could do on their Apple Watches, or
I'm just old school, and I'm okay with saying I'm old school. I love that about me.
I feel that it's also taking away from a lot of things that we experienced growing up,
right?
And made just life more minimal. If that makes meaningful. If that makes sense,
more meaningful, yeah.
Staying out late playing hide and go seek, and
or they're just yelling, Christina, Michelle. Like my mom would call all our names, and it's like you would hear every single name, and then you'd run back, right?
Yeah, like what? Just what I mean. I'm like, damn, Dad, I was about to kiss this girl. So it's and I miss that, but times are changing.
Right. We got to get with the times.
But
maybe it's just us.
I feel that what we do, and how, like John being here working with me, like I make it. That's how he pays for his phone. He has to work every weekend with me 1 day out of the week, and that pays for his phone.
Okay, so let me ask you another question, right? Like, say here's a wealthy person. He's now in high school or in college, living at home. You come from a wealthy home, so what would your expectations be as contribution?
As far as I'm the wealthy one, he's...
Well, yeah, you're his parent, and, you're wealthy.
He's going to college.
He's going to college. He's living at home, or he went away to college. Where's that balance?
The balance of what?
Of finances.
As far as, is he going to be providing for himself, or am I still providing? Well, we had this talk already. I told him that. Yeah. What did I say? When you're 18, what? Exactly.
No. See, I'm sorry.
So he has 3 options when he turns 18.
Where's going to be... Do we have the little background that says, ooh?
I think that...
Oh, okay, that one.
No, I'm playing with you. No, I didn't say that. I did. I told him that if he's in bad shoes and not, doing anything in your life by 18, I feel that you should have some sort of idea what you want to do. I don't think you have your whole life figured out, but at least by 18, I was like, I like this, I don't like that.
Personally, I feel at 18, you're still a kid. Honestly,
you are.
I hate that, you're 18, you're an adult. I don't think it doesn't make you an adult.
But you should already start towards something. That's my thing.
Right.
You should. Whether it be school, I'll support you. Whether it be the military, I'll support you. Whether it be, Dad, I want to start a business, I'll support you. Let's just work on something. Mm-hmm. That's my point of view.
Yeah.
I'm not a believer of I hear most parents, and I have clients that do this, where you're 18, take a 2-year break to figure things out.
No, I don't think there's such thing as a break. There shouldn't be. Like,
okay, that's where we're screwing up already. Mm-hmm. Or sort of just if you want to go get a job, it's okay. Get a job and just do that part-time, and then you can start school. And so we're already teaching our kids that it's okay to stop at one point and not finish something, and just basically wing it until you figure something out. So what I try to do with them is, as of now, I try to have them explore different things. The reason he comes work with me is why? Because, hey, bro, to have good things, te tienes que chingar. And this is this is the things you do. You want nice things? This is what it takes. Yeah. Now you have an option because aside of the hard work that I do, look at the freedom that we have.
Well, there's so many entrepreneurs, right? The entrepreneur life, they're willing to give their kids everything and anything.
Yeah, but then what did they work for? Where's the value in, I appreciate this because...
Yeah, and it's why do you want generational wealth, right? What is the outcome?
Well, I think generational wealth is good, but it's what you do with that and how it was given to you that makes a big difference. I have clients that are very wealthy and they'll say, I'm not leaving them shit because they
That's true. I hear a lot about that.
Because they got like Don Pena. Dan Pena says that he's a billionaire and he's straight out said, not even one of my kids is getting my fortune.
But why?
Because they have to learn how to fucking make their own money.
So where's that fortune going to go when he passes?
He's going to donate it to charity, to schools.
See, I have to disagree with that. I personally feel, for example, like my older kids. I think if something would have happened to me when they were in high school, I would have screwed them up for life.
Yeah.
Why? Because I didn't have a savings. I didn't have a plan. I think if we're going to teach our children something is to have a plan. Like what I want to leave behind is, yes, I want to leave wealth, number one. Yeah. Number two, of course, real estate. But that's going to teach them not to ever have to rely on anyone or any type of government system because they're not going to be taken care of that way. But learn from my experience, learn from the way that I did life to help you with your life. Of course.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I think it's the way that your way of being. Our way of being is not like, oh yeah, tenemos todo, life is perfect and
there's no value given there. I think you just hit it on the nail, and that's for me. That's generational wealth. Yes. Not only being material and money, but mental.
Yeah,
you're teaching them. It's a whole package.
Exactly.
When you do it the right way, that's what you're doing. You're teaching them, hey, listen, this is what it took. This is what it's going to take.
But now, also making your kids part of it, right?
Yeah, that's right. Like here's what we do, and I love this about us, is like we do our own vision boards together because his goals and Camila's goals and Lene's goals are going to be different than my goals. Right. I'm not going to have them chase what I like. I want them to explore that.
They want.
And to start tapping into that creative side of themselves so they could start chasing whatever it is they want to do, right?
And then also learning from their parents to give back. I try to make the kids part of a lot of what we do. Because we don't just work. I don't want them to think that all they do is work. I don't want them to grow up thinking all they did was work. Like, this is what we're doing. We're giving back. Be part of it. I think as parents, if the one message we're going to give out today, or that one thing that's going to stick is, yes, form generational wealth to break cycles, to help families and the families of your generations to come. But at the same time is, how are you being right now while you're creating this generational wealth? What are you giving back to the community, right? Or like with me, I want to give scholarships to the high school that I went to.
I love that.
Why? Because I was that one girl who my life could have changed to a completely different direction at that very crucial moment in my life. But if it wasn't for the school, the guidance, me being able to work and pay a certain amount of tuition, where would I be? And that instilled something in me that now I want to change a girl's life that's in high school, that I could be that one reason why she will be successful, not just in life, but mentally in so many different ways.
Well, that's the beauty of what we have and what we're doing is that we have that ability now. And part of generational wealth is doing things like that and helping others and having your kids understand that and the importance of giving back, because there is such, I know people that are well off, but for their kids, it's just like, here, toma, here's everything. And, it's sort of like, we'll show them what they need to see, but at the end of the day, let them just enjoy, And that's where I think it's wrong, because I feel that you're really not teaching them the true aspect of what they're going to you're not teaching them in true reality what to expect when life really hits them.
Yeah.
And that's going to be hard. Tough. And that's where you then have issues. Like parenting, look, man, parenting is not easy.
It's the hardest job I think there is out there.
It
sure.
is 100%.
Because you're raising someone to be a certain someone in society, right?
You're trying to raise somebody in a way that you feel should be
correct.
Way they should be, which you don't know because we're all wired differently. It's like Jay Shetty says a good saying is a lot of people, for example, on social media, they're going to put out there what you feel that they think of you type of way. Like, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm only going to put out there what I want you to like about me type thing.
I see.
And then when we start raising our kids, is we sort of do the opposite. Well, sort of along the same way where it's like, I want to raise you to become what I want it to be or what I think it's right for you.
Well, a lot of parents want to live vicariously through their children, and that's wrong. Like,
I think my mom did that. Yeah, my mom wanted to be a star. Like, my mom wanted to be this famous singer. And this is why I started filming so early, because she would make me get the camera
and film her
and film my sisters.
Aww.
And they all had to sing Thalia and Selena and all this song, and I'm here with the camera. And I remember que me caían taconazos because then I'll start playing with the camera. I'll be recording the goldfish while my sister would be like singing, or I'll record my mom and her bata singing. And then when she would send it out to auditions, they'll start with my sister, and then my mom comes out, and I'll be like, Juan, what the hell are you doing? You know? But it's like, you know, like I see that now, and I feel that that's why my mom now has a very hard time coping, because deep inside I feel that she didn't achieve everything she wanted to achieve. Yeah. And somehow it's still stuck in there. So I don't want my kids to feel that way. I definitely don't want to feel that way.
Any regret.
Yeah, so it's sort of like I let them, like, John wants to be a gamer. Great, I tell him this. Like, one of my clients is a big gamer, you know, and John knows him. But he doesn't do the things to, like, learn from this guy. And I tell him, like, look, come with me. Come this day, he's going to be playing soccer with me. Ask him questions, you know. And it's not that I'm trying to be bad. I'm just like, dude, like, here you have an opportunity to meet somebody who's doing what you want to do. Ask away. Ask away. Look what he did. The guy works out every day. He eats right. He reads books. And he's like, well, what does that have to do with gaming? Well, ask him, why does he do it? Why does he do it? Why is he so good?
But see, I think... And I mean, I'm going to have to agree to disagree or disagree to, however. No.
We're cutting this short now.
No. I say, for example, that works for him. Doesn't mean because he does A, B, and C, that A, B, and C is going to work for him and make him that great.
Correct.
I think this is when the opportunity of an invitation or, look, this is what I did and this is what helped me, right? Like Jordan and Kobe, their mindset is like 1 in a million. There will never be another Kobe.
Correct.
There will never be another Jordan, right? Or like the big greats. There was always something special that they did. They have this formula. You can, copy the formula, study the formula, but it has to do with the individual. It's the want. It's the sacrifices, the mindset, the guy that was Jordan's coach. Why am I forgetting? Tim Grover.
Tim Grover.
Okay. It's having, like, look at, he had him as a coach with him every second, like in his ear. What if you don't have the ability to have that coach? Then how do you get to that point?
Well, that's what I'm saying. What if the strategy that this guy uses is all that just to get mentally ready for a match? What if the reading that he does is strategy reading?
Right.
On how to. So that's what I try to tell him. It's like, ask.
Oh, what
ask him,
it's like, for him? Yeah.
Ask him, why does he do that? Like,
right.
Why is health important for him? I mean, the guy. I'm assuming when you tell me about gaming, I look at a fat dude in
just
a couch,
sitting there. Eating,
playing video games, right?
Munchies all the time.
Obviously, this guy's not fat. He's fit. He works out. He used to go to my gym. So I'm
but see, the image of that, like.
Yeah.
You automatically think someone's just sitting there and looking a certain way.
Correct.
Where I think to be a gamer, your IQ has to be way up there.
Well, this guy makes a shitload of money. And that's the thing that I'm like, well, if you want to get to that level, you need to study these people.
Right.
Because they're champions. These guys won tournaments, all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, everything you want to achieve, this guy has done.
Do you think a champion is made or a champion is already a champion?
I think you can make a champion. Mm-hmm. I think some are just born with it. Mm-hmm. They have that extra spark. When we talk about Kobe, LeBron, Ronaldo, dude, those guys have a spark in there. I mean, there's a great song. I think if there's anything out there that could show you of somebody having that spark. Look at Abraham, the what's his last name, the guy that played for Galaxy, Sweden guy. There's a great documentary. Look at that. That's insane. Like, this guy, since he was a kid, just had that killer instinct. He wanted blood. He was a tiger. He was going to go out there and get it regardless. And coaches hated him. Everybody said he sucked, that he wasn't going to make it.
Really?
And look at where he became. Zlatan. There you go. Zlatan. I mean, look, I Am Zlatan, I think it's called. Literally have your kids see that.
Okay.
And then you think, wow. But then look at stories like The Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah.
Somebody that didn't have that and had gone the opposite way and became a champion in his own way.
Yeah.
So can it be done? Yeah. It's going to be harder.
I think it just comes down to the want. How bad do you want it? And having the passion, right? A lot of people is like, oh, passion doesn't pay you. Bullshit.
No, it does.
To me, passion's what's going to drive me. Whether I, become this, famous dancer or whatever. If that's going to fulfill me, my passion and what I want in life, why not? Yeah. I disagree with the person that says passion doesn't pay you or passion doesn't make you happy.
I agree with you on that. It would have been different if he said, oh, my whole thing is motivation. Well, then that's tough because motivation comes and goes.
I think the motivation is what you do with it, right? It's mental.
Well, it depends. You wake up in the morning sometimes motivated to go do something. Doesn't mean every morning you're going to. So you got to count on discipline.
Yeah.
Your discipline and that passion, that reminder of what your will, why you initially want to do something is. And the funny thing about all that is that both people that we just described, the one that's born with the champion mentality and the one that earns it, both have the same things.
Yeah.
The passion, the will, the drive, the want. The big difference is which one's going to work harder for it. And clearly it's going to be this guy. The guy that's not born with it, you're just going to have a longer road. But guess what? That's what's going to make it even more
and mind over matter, like, Goggins, just what he talks about.
Goggins, another example of that.
Right?
Look, Goggins had everything against him.
Amazing.
And he became a champion in his own way.
Yeah.
And that guy could take hurt. That guy could take pain. That guy could take whatever you throw at him. But, he's going to do it.
Right. Like what I did is, like Rocky, old school, right? I've watched the marathon of it with the kids. Well, I have a messed up ankle and I wanted to run. Like, it just inspired me, the music and just going through him. And one thing that he says in the movie, it's heart. You got to have heart, right? That's the difference. And the pain is it's you taking the pain because your heart is so much bigger than what you're taking. I went running. I was like, I got to keep going whether I was hurting. I just kept thinking, like, what's stopping you from just going just because you feel a little bit of pain? And I ended up doing 4.4 miles. And it's something I haven't done in a very long time. But it was just that mindset, like, yeah, you're in pain, but you're going to let that take over you. And I was like, I could do this. I could do it. And the music was helping me. I was pumping myself. I was even doing squats on the street. But it's the little things and taking from different people. What worked for them, right? Like, what works for you? What works for me, that helped me to run and feel better about myself. I was totally limping coming back home. And I actually called Willie to pick me up like halfway on the way back because I was already limping. But I didn't let that, take over me stopping or my goal. I had a goal, like, I'm going to go to that street. And I just kept going.
And that's the beauty of mind power. I mean, the will, like, the
one place that should be what you should be feeding and not perfecting, but it's the one place that should be at peace too.
Like one fun fact about me is I love pain. I'll do things to put my body.
A ver, un trancazo, un trancazo.
It's crazy because I'll get up one morning and be like, I'm going to do 80 miles on a bike. Mm-hmm. And I'll just go do it.
Because you set yourself to it.
And I'll finish it. That's the one thing I do miss about the military, that me and my other buddy, we used to run crazy miles, like run. And there's a few times I threw up while I was running. There's a few times that I fell because my legs were just completely shocked. And I still got up. But that feeling after, when you accomplished it, it's like the ultimate high for me.
Right.
It's like, damn, it's like the same thing on a bike. Like, I'll finish a big bike ride and I'm like,
well, it's like, I can do it. I honestly think you can do whatever you want to do.
You can.
Right.
100% you can. The question is, are you willing to go through the pain? Are you willing to go through the obstacles?
I am, for sure. I'm willing to go through the pain.
And that's the biggest thing, that you have a lot of people that want to tackle, let's say, a new business journey, or they have this idea and they get a little bit of obstacle, they get a little bit of, pushback, and then it's like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I'd rather just quit.
I love it. So we'll go ahead and close this out.
Well, we still got like 3 more hours.
We do? Hey, I thought you said you had to leave. No,
I gotta go.
I mean, I love that. I wanted to thank you, from the bottom of my heart. It means a lot to me that you're willing to take the time. Obviously, you're a busy guy. But I want the messages that are being put out to be, just like how we're talking. We're two normal people wanting to help others, and I want people to feel comfortable. That's my message, and that we are all the same. We're not different. Situations make us different, where we're at in life, but realistically, we are all the same.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you cannot achieve. That's my message for today, because it can't get any clearer. It cannot get any clearer than that.
I agree, 100%. Well, thank you for having me, and let's keep them going.
Thank you. So, guys, you tuned into Así o Más Claro with Christine Escobar. Thank you for coming today, and let's give a round of applause to our guest, JP Pena.